Welcome, everybody. Appreciate you being here for the live stream. Going to be doing 2 back-to-back drafts. We're going into the marathon on Underdog to continue our Underdog best ball drafting since Best Ball Mania 5 closed on Saturday afternoon. And then we will follow this up with an FFPC 350 Fantasy Pros Championship tournament. Thanks again for being here. Ask any questions you have. And looking forward to this draft. Jamar Chase will not go 210. That's impossible. I'm not expecting it. Oh my. That's fine with me. Jamar Chase at the 10. Gonna take that. Risky, I know, but we're $15, folks. You should take that. That's optimal. Take that. They have T. Higgins as their number 2. He's decent. He's not Jamar Chase. Sorry you guys didn't see that. Let me go ahead and share the screen. You guys are probably like, what the hell is he talking about? Well, now you know what the hell I'm talking about. Jamar Chase at the 1.10 in the marathon. You guys are going to give it to me. I'm going to take it. It's $15 we're playing with. $300,000 to first place. Come on, let's get it. Come on, let's get it. Okay, back on the clock. Here, I like Gibbs. They're going to give me Gibbs. No concerns for week 1. Gibbs Chase. You can get that. You can get that. That's not super unique, but for uniqueness, I might want to go. No, we'll go Gibbs. Yeah, Puka's gone. Puka was there. I'd go Gibbs, Puka, but Puka's gone. Okay, so this is our warm-up before our other live draft where we're going to have $350 at stake. And for that, I want to get a little bit more the juices flowing. That's coming up here. So I'm going to close this down for now. Fantasy Fitness, that's the app that I've been building. I'll tell you guys a little bit about this real quick before we just head back over to Underdog. But yeah, I'm building an app called fantasyfitness.io. It's got all of the relevant players for fantasy purposes in here. If you're playing in a 10 or a 12 team, get down into like the really deeper leagues. I don't have all those players. And quite frankly, I don't have any intention of adding them. I play in 10 and 12s, tournaments, best ball, Underdog, Best Ball Mania 5, the marathon, and also playing in FFPC 350s as well. Trying to win $1 million. Appreciate you guys being here, and I'm going to take a step away for just a second. We'll be right back. 10 picks away. Okay, we are now 8 picks away, and appreciate y'all being here. As I was saying, though, and I'll get back to it here in a second after this pick, let's go ahead and talk about the board real quick. See how this board is falling. So Chase got Chase at 10, took Gibbs because Puka wasn't there. Ayuk goes at the top of the 3rd. Isaiah Pacheco, early 3rd. Don't like that at all. Mike Evans, early 3rd. That's okay. Structurally, everything player, specialty player, deep threat, tight touchdown, upside player. I like the versatility of this team more. So far, between these three teams, this is my favorite team. This would be a close second. That's interesting. The family dude. Okay, let's jump back over here. DJ Moore, clearly. I like him here. Okay, end of the third. End of the third, DJ Moore. That feels very appropriately priced. I know there's DK on there, but I gotta go DJ Moore. And on this wraparound, I would be targeting Tank Dell. For this build, Sam Laporta can make sense. I think there's better value down the board later. With Chase, there's even a sleeper tight end that I'll talk about a little bit at the end. But appreciate you guys coming by, checking out the show. Allen, will he be there? Tank Dell at the 4-3. That's my target. Got to get by one person. Will it happen? Might not happen. He's thinking pretty damn hard about it. He went Kelsey. So that, for me, I want to get in this Houston stack, Cincinnati stack. Sorry. Yeah, Cincinnati, Detroit. There will be opportunities here. So how can I get into George Kittle? George Kittle would make a ton of sense on this team now. A very high variance, high upside play. George Kittle. Okay. George Kittle's going to make a lot of sense on this roster. Mark Andrews as well, because I have the Houston piece. And CJ Stroud, obviously, at this point would be good. Xavier Worthy, Jackson Smith, and Jigba to get the other side of Chicago, along with Roma Dunze. I didn't give myself a Brian Thomas run back yet, but that's an option. Jackson. I'm taking Jackson over Christian Watson this year. Too much straight line, deep stuff for Watson. But in best ball, he could be good. He does have the high ceiling. I get the appeal. Tennessee, I could do a quick little back here. Calvin Ridley, Brian Thomas Jr. There's just a lot of options here. 9. And Kenneth Walker, of course, too. And I like McLaurin. So that's a good pick. McLaurin over Pickens. Always. Always, always, always. Well, let's see. How's this board falling? See if I'm still going to give this team the highest grade. And the answer would be yes. I would give them the highest grade. Probably say second. I would say this Blue Bruce, and then I'd throw myself in the mix there too. You know, this is very nice. I have my hero RB going. Jahmyr Gibbs get the DJ Moore, get the Tank Dell, get the Jamar Chase. I know it's risky with the Jamar Chase situation, but a man's going to want to get his free agency to carry over to next year. So he's got a lot of incentive to play, and he will play. I'm pretty sure of it. He might miss a couple games. Might miss that game. Okay. Now we're in that range. We could try to get into Kansas City here, but it's a little tough. But we're talking 5-10, and we still have Xavier Worthy on the board. It's pretty crazy. That's pretty damn crazy. I'm going to have to take that. That gives me one more stack to play with. You can weave a lot of different things in here. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll hope Kittle's there. If Kittle's not there, then we have Evan Ingram. And we also have Brock Bowers. You gotta take some risk in life, man. Gotta take some chances. Might not be there. Some people like him, some people don't. He's there. And that was the play. Now we get the Gibbs, Kittle stack. First one down. Now we're 18 picks away. We're going to miss out on a lot of guys, but we might get a Jackson. Probably not going to get a Brian Thomas or those kind of guys, I would think. Could maybe get a Christian Watson. And if we get off those guys, then Ladd McConkey is our target. Thanks again for being here. Appreciate y'all stopping by. Thanks again. We're doing a live Underdog marathon draft. Best Ball Mania 5 unfortunately closed on Saturday. So we're into the marathon. We are 6 rounds in. Do a quick recap of the team. Started with Chase at the 10. Followed that up with Gibbs in the second. And then in the 3-4 went DJ Moore, Tank Dell, top of the fourth. It's top of the fourth. And then Xavier Worthy. Got George Kittle to get the run back week 17 with Jahmyr Gibbs. So now we've got a Jahmyr Gibbs, George Kittle week 17 stack that we're going to get to fire off hopefully in this tournament. Super high upside guys. Combine that hopefully with a Xavier Worthy. I'd love to weave in like a Jaylen Warren here with his pass catching upside. It's going to be sweet. Happy to answer any questions you guys have about the draft or your fantasy teams. Just here for the next couple hours. Going to be talking fantasy, going to be doing a couple drafts, and we will be digging into some of the strategy behind best ball along with the FFPC. Go ahead and pull that up too. I don't know if you guys play on the FFPC, but for those that don't, the FFPC has all sorts of fun prizes. I'm in a couple dynasty leagues along with the Fantasy Pros Championship. And tonight we are going to be drafting our 6th team. So I did 3 on my own and 3 with a friend. Today we are going to be getting into the FFPC Fantasy Pros Championship. This is a $350 buy-in, and it's a tournament. So you want to go high upside. This is going to kick off in 57 minutes. So we're going to follow up this best ball draft with the FFPC Fantasy Pros Championship. Hope you guys stick around to see that. I am excited as heck to talk through that one. And I'm drafting from the 12 hole. So I'm in a pretty tough spot. So there's a lot of strategy talk we can get into there. Happy to answer any questions in the chat. If you guys have any questions about your individual fantasy football teams, players that you have questions or concerns about. I also want to point out that I'm building the fantasy fitness application, fantasyfitness.io. I have all these players in the database. I have 3 algorithms that I've been working on for 9 months, the fantasy fitness overall score, the talent score, and the team score. Let's jump back over here so we can get this pick. My target is Jackson Smith and Jigba. I'll get the run back, and he is out. Ouch. Okay, so now we have to strategize on what we want to do next. In this particular case, I am going to look to Lad McConkey and see if I can't get a little tiny stack on with the Chargers and the Patriots for week 17. That's a little sneaky stack that I hope you guys are getting into, where you can stack Lad McConkey with Herbert, and you can get a Dawson, a Dobbins, or a Vidal back there. So that's what we are going. Actually, I thought about that, but with Burrow here and Cincinnati, this is a great place to go ahead and get my stack with Chase. And so now I have a Burrow Chase stack, and I can pair that up with the Broncos, who the Bengals play week 17, and that'll give me some outs with a Javonte Williams, who's coming up here, who would now be in play for this next pick. I would probably stay off the New England stack at that point and try to work this this Cincinnati Denver stack along with Houston, Baltimore, and some other things of that nature as we go along here. So the target here is going to be Javonte Williams. We'll see if he makes it to me. If not, we will regroup and just kind of take it from there. And there we go, 2 snipes. But hey, it's how you handle it. So now with that in play, I am going to go get the Jaylen Warren that I mentioned earlier. So now I've got Jaylen Warren, week 17, that I'm stacking with Xavier Worthy. So, let's picture a world where it's a shootout and we've got the pass catching running back. Now that's got to play catch up. That's probably going to negate, Najee a bit in a game like that. And you're going to have, the high flying Chiefs. Hopefully Xavier Worthy gets like a 60-yard touchdown pass or something from Patrick Mahomes. And then you've got to play catch up, and you're going to get your pass catching running back in there with Jaylen Warren. So now this is shaping up pretty damn nice. You've got Burrow stacked with Chase. You've got Jahmyr Gibbs and the run back with Kittle week 17. You've got Jaylen Warren as a perfect RB2 with pass catching upside, who's going to probably be playing more than people think on a team that's pretty bad and probably going to be playing catch up in some, to some extent. Now we've got Chicago, which I'm still looking to pair with some Seattle pieces. And then Houston would be with Baltimore. And again, I don't force any of these stacks, but if I can create them where it makes sense and you're still getting value at the appropriate places, then I'm going to do it. But I'm also not going to, reach 30 spots down the board just to create a stack. So, with this in mind, Hollywood Brown, if he continues to dip, would be in play here. Just in general, DeAndre Hopkins is severely undervalued. He's going to be ready week 1. He's got a gunslinging quarterback. We can argue whether he's good or not, but they're going to pass the ball. And they just brought in the OC from the Bengals, who loves to pass the ball. And, so we're going to see some passing. We're probably going to see some games in Tennessee where they're behind and they're just slinging the rock. So, wheels up for DeAndre Hopkins, wheels up for Calvin Ridley, wheels up for Will Levis in that one. And then, let's just do a quick recap of the board here. So that was my little soliloquy about DeAndre Hopkins. But continuing down the board, I do not like this section of the board. It gets very just gross. So here's where I am willing to reach for players that fit my builds. And those would be in the case of this team, Houston, Baltimore. But I am willing to get off those stacks and build other little mini stacks with guys that have high upside. So I can't really see how I would get into. Well, I could get into Njoku here, and then pair that with either like a Jerome Ford, which I honestly don't like, but I would like more of a high flying player like a Jalen Wright later on, who could come in, who's got 4.38 speed. You get an A-Chain who goes down, or an older Mostert who goes down, and all of a sudden you got A-Chain running with Jalen Wright. I mean, that's going to be just an absolute shit show, in a good way, down there in Miami. So definitely have my eye on Jalen Wright. If I were to get an Njoku here, then Wright would be a target later, just for his upside in a tournament like this. I generally try to stay away from the plotters. I like to get guys with pass catching upside who can sort of win in any game environment. So that's going to be like a Spears. That would also be like a Quorum if something were to happen to our boy. Okay, 27 seconds on the clock here. Of course, Njoku goes. This is 3 for 3. So you guys are seeing it live. I'm not just complaining over here. So what do I want to do here? I could get Caleb Williams and stack him with DJ Moore and sort of be done with it at the quarterback position. That's actually not a bad idea. And I could go that route, and I probably will go that route. That also gives me another opportunity to get Cole Kmet and get a double stack with Cole Kmet, DJ Moore, and now Caleb Williams. They also have bye weeks that play well together. It's a 6 spot reach, but that's nothing when you're building your build. I could have also went Purdy there, but I like the upside of Caleb Williams. He's a mystery box, but he's a talked about prospect. So 2 away, and in this particular spot, we are looking at interesting. I am going to probably go down the board here a bit. And this may sound gross, and it kind of is. But what about J.K. Dobbins here? I know he's been injured. He's 25 years old. We'll pull up his profile right after I do this. But he fits. No, actually, he doesn't really fit this build. What am I doing? In that case, we can get him later, and that's just too far of a reach. So, and this will open up an opportunity to stack with Trey Benson. So I'm going to leave it at Blake Corum here. I hope you guys been doing your research on Blake Corum. But let's go ahead and show you the app a little bit. So let's just jump over and let's look at Blake Corum. We've got him right here. Blake Corum. FantasyFitness.io for those that haven't been here before. So what do I got to offer? Blake Corum, Los Angeles Rams. We can quickly see who are all the relevant fantasy players on the Rams. Let's go back to his page. Where's the jersey? 22, running back, 5'8", 205, 23 years old, Michigan, drafted as the 3rd pick, 19th pick of the 3rd round in 2024. So 0 years of NFL experience. He's a rookie. He's got a 4-year, $5.8 million contract. We can go and get into the details of that on Spot Track if you want to see it. For those that are playing in Dynasty, this can be really helpful to kind of see how many years you've got of stability on a player. Obviously, as a rookie, he's going to have about 4. Where's he going on different platforms? So Underdog, he's going at the 120, late 10th. FFPC, 115, 118 on Yahoo, 135. So you basically give yourself a ballpark here. He's going late 10th to early 12th. And then we get our stacking for the best ball bros. Who's he playing? He's playing Kyler Murray. So that's what I was mentioning. I like a Michael Wilson later. I like a Trey Benson later. And those are now going to be targets of mine right here. So Trey Benson and Michael Wilson at the wide receiver position would be nice. Now that I'm into Corum, I want to get multiple pieces of that game. And I want the high upside guys. This is a tournament. We're going against absolute sharks. And sharks and sharps. So, seriously, like you need high upside guys. It's a $15 draft. We're shooting for the moon and we're looking for correlation where it makes sense. So getting back over here to Fantasy Fitness, what are these Fantasy Fitness scores, you might ask? Well, there's 3 scores. There's the overall score, which combines the talent score and the team score. The talent score is a reflection of the player's individual talent in a vacuum. It's intended to figure out how talented this player is regardless of what team they're on. So the things that we're looking at is how do they create yards for themselves? That's an individual skill. So beyond the line of scrimmage, what is their yards after contact? What's their missed tackle rate? What's their elusiveness score? We get into all sorts of underlying metrics that are intended to help sort of sift out this player's individual talent. Then we look at the team score. This is made up of the talent on the team and the team environment sort of factors. That's coming from this team environment scorecard down here. That's going to be the opportunity that this player is given, the competition at their position and other positions where they may be competing for targets. What's the grade of the O-line? How good is the quarterback that they're tethered to? This is especially important if you're a wide receiver and you want to know who's throwing you the ball. And then, of course, you have the coaching staff. We also have 3 different videos that we've curated. They're not our videos, so we encourage you to follow the content creators, but they will give you some insight into this player's game. It's a film study / highlights section. Can kind of get you amped up. And then we have the positional competition here as well. So Kyron Williams, the starter, how good is he? What's his overall score? What's his talent score? What's his team score? And what's the coaching staff like? Well, we all love, I need to quit screwing around. Now the target is Pat Fairmuth because we have Kittle. And now we also have, okay. I was going to say, if I get sniped on Pat Fairmuth, all hell's going to break loose here. 0 for 3. Now we're back on track. No snipage this round. These guys aren't really targets for what I'm trying to do with this build. And I'm not reaching down the board to get Pat Fairmuth. He makes sense within the context of this roster. So I'm going to go ahead and get Pat Fairmuth. Now I have for week 17, and this is very important. We have Pat Fairmuth going against Xavier Worthy and Jaylen Warren. So the expectation is that the Chiefs are going to be ahead. They're always ahead, right? And they're going to be playing a pretty putrid, maybe average, got to give Tomlin credit. He's always getting his guys ready. They're going to be 9-8 or something like that. They're going to find a way to be in the playoff hunt, but they're going to be behind most likely in this game. So you get the run out early with Xavier Worthy, and then, they're going to be just kind of putting the metal on like they always do. And then you're going to be playing catch up. So you get Pat Fairmuth, who's going to be a receiver that fits the narrative of how this game could play out, along with Jaylen Warren, the pass catching running back. So now we got 3 pieces in that build, and that's very important, because we're concentrating our bets. We don't need to get the best players from all the different teams. Of course we would like that, but then come week 17, we need, 8 different games to go off and all the different players and all those games to go off. And that's just not likely to happen. So yes, we want 4 or 5 different games, but we want to concentrate these bets. So now we have Jahmyr Gibbs. Okay, where is Michael Wilson? So he's a little bit further down. We also have Cole Kmet, but because I just got Pat Fairmuth, I'm okay passing on Kmet at this point. That's going to be a crowded room anyways. So I like Michael Wilson here. I also like Dobbins, and that could give me a chance to get into that stack as well. But Trey Benson, maybe he's already off the board. So I'm going to go with Michael Wilson here. And now we've got Blake Corum, Michael Wilson. We all love Marvin Harrison Jr. Don't get me wrong. But if something happens to him, Michael Wilson came on pretty strong at the end of last year. We can go look at his prospect profile. Let's just go take a look. Shoot, we're right here. Michael Wilson. If I can spell, Michael. Michael Wilson. Michael Wilson, 6'1", 213. Good size for a wide receiver. 24 years old. Stanford. Smart. 3rd round draft pick. That's good. That's important. 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Those guys are going to get a little bit longer leash. 4 years, $5.3 million. He's going in the 140s. He's going as late as 168, the 14th round. in FFPC. That's awesome. We just took him in the 11th round, or excuse me, the 12th round. So right where he's supposed to go is where we took him. So no real reach there. Yeah, these aren't the highest scores, and there's some reasons for that, and some reasons that are fine, and some reasons aren't fine. He's not the fastest, 4.58, but when you adjust for his size, it's actually 8.25. That's pretty damn good. He's explosive. This measures vertical jump and broad jump. So you're talking about short area burst, and then you're talking about agility, lateral quickness, the ability to sort of, jump out of his release and maybe, blow by a defender or something like that. So he definitely has the athletic measurables. Opportunity isn't great. And now his competition score is coming in pretty low because of his immediate competition, that being Marvin Harrison Jr., and then his indirect competition at Trey McBride, Trey Benson, James Conner. O-line's a little above average. QB, Kyler Murray. Coaching staff, pretty average at this point. We don't know a ton about them. And then here's his, main competition. You've got Marvin Harrison Jr., but you got a suspended Zay Jones. You got a 4-string Greg Dortch. Love Greg Dortch, but I mean, he's not going to command 20% target share on a regular basis. So 4 picks away. This thing is flying. I mentioned Jalen right before. I do not have a stack in that game, but that is just a player that I would damn near find a way to get a stack going if I could. I also love Jalen Polk. If Jalen Polk is there in 3 picks, like we could work something in with Kamani Vidal, and that would be beautiful for the running back room. So I've been getting sniped all night. I'll probably get sniped here, but my pick is Jalen Polk. And then I'm going to try to get a run back with Kamani Vidal and kind of round out that room. And damn, I'll feel pretty good about it. I'll be honest with you. So let's see if Polk goes here. It won't surprise me. It's been that kind of room tonight. We've got the snipers out. Did I call it? Did I call it? Did I freaking call it? My goodness. All right. Well, it's not about what happens. It's how you react to what happens. And the way we're going to react is by dominating these mother truckers. Let's go. What do I want to do here? Kamani Vidal is a reach at this point, but I'm going to go Demario Douglas, and then I'm going to try to get into that Kamani Vidal, and I am going to wrap this mother trucker up with a Drake May late stack. Dude, Josh Allen 2.0. Too soon? Too soon? We got to see. But yeah, I could have went a third running back or tight end here. I need to do that before the end. So Cole Kmet, but I want those Vidal shares if I can get them. And this guy might be thinking the same thing, and I'm going to break his heart because that shit ain't going to happen if he's still there. And that would give me Demario Douglas with Kamani Vidal. So you can see we've got some correlation. There hasn't been a ton of reaching. Massive, massive upside with Kamani Vidal. And this guy, we'll get to his prospect here in a second. Small school prospect, but mega producer at Troy. And yeah, there we go. Kmet would be interesting here because I do have the stack with Caleb Williams, but that is a crowded room. I could also possibly get Hunter Henry, and I have another little play at the end that I'm saving. So Kamani Vidal here. We'll go look at his profile here in a second. It's exciting. Obviously, we need a few things to happen in this room, and I will kind of brush it up with one more player, and that player is going to get playing time. Should get playing time if I can get him, and if I can't get him, there's a couple other targets in here as well. And then Jermaine Burton, because we have Denver, and that's the other thing I wanted to do real quick was go ahead and get my Denver pieces since I'm doing a lot of blabbing here. So Hunter Henry would be good because of what I have here. Greg Dulcich, he's a sleeper of mine this year. and we'll go look at his profile too if we have time. But he's a sleeper, and you guys, if he can stay healthy, he will blow this ADP away, like literally blow it away in like 2 weeks. So just put him on your short list if you're in deeper leagues, tournament style too, because he definitely has the upside. And we're talking about a Sean Payton offense here, who loves the tight end. So Audric Estime makes sense in this build. Carson Steele makes a little sense here at the end of this build. And then because I've got the, Kansas City gets out ahead, they're going to sulk that clock. We've got Isaiah Pacheco, but what if Pacheco gets hurt? What if Carson Steele just looks better? I mean, it's possible. We can go look at Pacheco's profile. It's not, the most amazing talent profile you've ever seen. So Kamani Vidal, we kind of went through this one. So let's go over to Kamani Vidal real quick. Vidal is the shit. Kamani Vidal, 5'8", 215. He said his favorite players were Maurice Jones-Drew and drawing a blank, but Ray, the guy for the Ravens, who got in trouble. If you guys know in the chat, or if you guys know on here, put it in the chat. But those were his favorite players growing up. Maurice Jones-Drew, though, I mean, come on, he fits that build so perfect. And we all know what Maurice Jones-Drew did his rookie year. Went out and won people fantasy championships. So maybe a little like Kamani Vidal, action like MJD. We'll just have to see. But there's some late season plays here. Obviously, Blake could get on the field early if he just outplays Kyren Williams. Otherwise, he may be relegated to a smaller role unless he gets hurt. But I anticipate late season upside here from Blake Corum. Same thing with Kamani Vidal. And then you've got your starters right now. Warren, who's already said he's playing week 1. So that's not even in question for those that are concerned about that. And then Jahmyr Gibbs. And then in the receiving room, we have an absolute, starting 4 is just ridiculous. Jamar Chase, DJ Moore, Tank Dell, Xavier Worthy, George Pickens, absolute monster at tight end. And then 2 powerhouses, hopefully, at the quarterback position. And you do have the rushing upside of Caleb Williams. It's not talked about that much, but he does have a pretty decent rushing upside, probably better than, say, somebody like Jordan Love, who gets about 25 rushing yards a game. You could probably expect about that, maybe a little bit more from Caleb Williams. So sneaky upside, which is kind of like what you get from like a Patrick Mahomes. And we are on the clock, and our Gibson shares went here. So just looking at the plays here, the one that I like is going to have to be Jermaine Burton. Now, there is some criticism about this guy, but he had 3 touchdowns in preseason. So we'll go ahead and get that for that late season upside, and it fits the stack well. It also gives me a hedge, a little bit of a indirect hedge with Jamar Chase. If he decides to prolong this holdout or something like that happens, well, they're going to turn probably to Burton, even though he apparently fell asleep in meetings. And that's been the big knock on him, is some sort of rumor about him falling asleep in team meetings. So he's not a very good pro at this point, clearly, because you don't fall asleep in meetings if you are. And then we've got Drake May down here. I'm just looking down here to see what fits the build. I told you I wanted to get Drake May, and that would make sense here. And then I want that Dulcich piece. All right, so, I mean, you tell me, does all this stuff look that good? Because it's okay, but everything's just a crapshoot in this range. And you're talking about massive, massive, massive upside, rushing upside, you name it. I've got pieces of this game. So we're going Drake May here. And I've got a little mini stack going with Kamani Vidal. They're the team that's going to be up, right? Let's assume the Chargers are going to be leading in that game. So they're going to be sulking it away with Kamani Vidal. And then Drake May is going to be playing catch up with the Mario Douglas, Jalen Polk, Baker. Baker might be in play here at the very, very end, or somebody like Kendrick Bourne. I know these are like kind of ugly names, but at the very end of your best ball drafts, you do want to just try to get these like ancillary pieces that could pop off in a game like this. And the player that I really want is Jacob Cowing. So get ready to learn about Jacob Cowing if you don't already know about him. Mega producer at Arizona and UTEP. Started off at UTEP, absolutely crushed it. Went to Arizona and was a mega producer at Arizona in the Pac-10. So it wasn't just, oh, he's playing for UTEP, so he's going to crush like smaller competition. He did that and did it very well. And then went up to Arizona and did the same thing. And then came into the NFL and in the preseason has already scored, I think 1 or 2 touchdowns, had a 38-yard bomb, had an end around for some, 25 yards or something. I don't know the exact numbers. Just an absolute menace already. And Ricky Pearsall just got shot, So, prayers up to him. Hopefully he gets healthy pretty soon, but he's not playing for at least 4 weeks. He's missed all of training camp. Jacob Cowing has just stepped in here and basically taken his job. 4th round pick out of Arizona. But let's go ahead and finish off this profile real quick on Kamani Vidal. Look at this athleticism. I mean, this is just insane. 4'4", 640. 9.5 size adjusted speed. So when you take his size and his speed in combination, he grades out as a 9.5. And that's just awesome. Explosiveness, short area quickness, 8.75, agility, 9. Now here's the issue. Right now he doesn't have an opportunity. He's behind J.K. Dobbins and he's behind Gus Edwards, but that can change very quickly, especially at the running back position. So you're looking at the abilities of this player. He made the team. He was drafted in the 6th round. 5th pick of the 6th round out of Troy, small school, but he was an absolute mega producer. The model already is putting him as the 30. Now I discount small schools. I discount college stats. So even after discounting for everything he did in college, he's still coming in around guys like Ray Davis, Blake Corum, Antonio Gibson, Jonathan Brooks. So, I mean, just saying. And we know how much John Harbaugh loves to run the football. If you watch the national championship, Blake Corum just ran it down Washington's throat. And that's what he does. That's his brand of football. So they're going to run the ball. It could be J.K. Dobbins. It could be Gus Edwards. It could be Kamani Vidal. Get a piece of that backfield. And if you have a stack going, even better. So now we're into the 17th round, and I have 2 picks left. Those picks are going to be some combination of running back and possibly this Greg Dulcich pick, Jacob Cowing, and then it's going to be 2 of these 5 players. And just kind of thinking it through here, I've got 7 wide receivers. Jamar Chase, you could always use an 8th, and it makes sense in this Jahmyr Gibbs. I give myself 1 more out. If Kittle doesn't catch it, something happens to those other guys, then I have the out there. The Audric Estime out is also nice with Cincinnati. So 1 more running back or Carson Steele. I'm going to go Carson Steele. Did I get it? Carson Steele, let's do it. He looked ridiculous in preseason. And then now it's a question of, do I want that tight end? And I think I do, because I mentioned I have the 2 9s here. Now, the advance rate is not that much lower, even when you have 2 tight ends with the same bye week. Justin Herzig, who won Best Ball Mania I think it was 1, talked about this in a recent Twitter post. And it's like the difference is like 15 versus like 16% advance rate. So it's like a 1% difference if you have 2 tight ends with the same bye week. So the question is, do I want that 8th wide receiver and somebody like a Jacob Cowing, who could be this year's Tank Dell? or do I want Greg Dulcich? And this is freaking hard. I think because the target competition is so weak in Denver, he could literally be the second target behind maybe Cortland Sutton. And if he stays healthy, the upside is ridiculous. I do think he can outscore Pat Freiermuth on a basis, and we know how much variance there is in Kittle's game. So there will be weeks where he becomes useful as well. So I'm going to go Dulcich here. I'm a little sad about Cowing, but I think Dulcich just adds more overall value to this team, and he can be plugged into a flex. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So this completes the Best Ball Mania, Underdog Marathon tournament. And I'll go back out to the lobby real quick and just show you guys what this is. So under NFL, we're going to go over here and we're going to look at the marathon. So the marathon is cumulative scoring weeks 1 through 17. So when you're looking at Dulcich, who could be scoring from the jump versus some of these guys who could get it slightly later start, there's a lot of different ways to sort of slice and dice how you put these teams together. Some people play it a little bit more conservative. I'm obviously going for upside, massive upside. So we'll go ahead and take a quick look here at that team. Let's get back to it real quick. And it hasn't completed yet. So we'll go back to the active column, the marathon. Let's take a quick look at this team. So Joe Burrow stacked with Jamar Chase and Jermaine Burton, and run it back on the other side, week 17 with Greg Dulcich. Then you have Caleb Williams stacked with DJ Moore, and no run back on the other side with Seattle. I was looking to get into the Seattle, but got sniped on a few guys. And then we have Drake May with massive late season upside. Kamani Vidal, if anything happens to Dobbins and or Gus Edwards, with an awesome athletic profile. And then we have Demario Douglas in that game as well. And we have stability with a wide receiver 2 just completed. So it's going to make me finish this up real quick. My first marathon. It does not have that, really. Come on, guys. Okay. Well, I just got sniped out of that room by Underdog. I'll have to go find my draft here in a second. I'm not sure where it went. It should be right in this list, but it's not. So probably pop in just a minute. So coming up in 20 minutes, I hope you guys stick around. We are going into FFPC, the Fantasy Pros Championship. This is a $350 buy-in for a chance to win $1 million. It is weeks 1 through 12 is head-to-heads against your 11 other league mates. And then weeks 13 and 14 is the league championships. Only the top 4 teams out of 12 make it into the playoffs. And then 3 teams make it into the Tournament of Champions. So the Tournament of Champions, the ways you can get into the Tournament of Championship from your league is you have the highest points, you have the best record, or you win that playoff weeks 13 and 14. So let's say you're the 4 seed and you don't have the highest points or the best record. Well, then you have to win week 13, advance to the league championship week 14, and then you have to beat whoever's your opponent in week 14. If you do that and you're not one of the highest scoring or best record teams, you will also advance to the Tournament of Champions weeks 15, 16, and 17. Cumulative scoring. So they just add up everybody versus everybody, and they add it all up. And in week 17, everybody versus everybody, 15, 16, and 17, everybody versus everybody of the teams that advance. And like I said, I'll say it one more time, 3 teams advance to the Tournament of Championships from your league. So you're playing against 12 other people. You either have to have the best record, you have to have the highest scoring team, or you have to win the league in the league playoffs weeks 13 and 14, where 1 plays 3 and 1 plays 4 and 2 plays 3, and the winner of that plays each other week 14. And if you were not the highest scoring team or you were not the team with the best record, But because you won your league championship week 14, you will also advance to the Tournament of Champions. And then Tournament of Champions will go 15, 16, and 17, everybody versus everybody in all the different leagues for the teams that advanced. And you have your shot at $1 million. So I am going to be kicking off this draft in 25 minutes. Let's go ahead and enter the draft room. 21 minutes to be exact. And I got the draw of the 112. You know, I'm not too happy about it, but such is life. I'm going to make the most of it. And I'm willing to take some risk here for a couple of reasons. One, we're talking about a tournament where there's 20,000 other entries. So, and it's very, very top heavy. The people at the, you know, the top 10 teams or so win some legitimate cash. And then after that, it's like, you know, you get a free entry into this tournament next year, or you get 3 entries into this tournament next year and stuff like that. You know, you're talking about $1,000 or something. So very, very top heavy, 20,000 entries. And I'm on my, this is my last one that I'm going to be doing. So hope you guys stick around for this. It's going to be fun drafting out of the 112. And I'm going to do some things a little bit different, and I'll talk through why I'm doing them that way. I'm going to bring over some of my best ball knowledge, and I'm also going to be bringing over the experience and the things that I've learned from building fantasy fitness over the last 9 months and what I've gained from the algorithms that I've spent the time building. So again, for those that haven't seen this, fantasyfitness.io/players will have all of your different players. You can sort by each position group, and then I sort by fantasy fitness score, but you can sort by whatever you want. Let's just take a quick look at a player, Tyreek Hill. What are you going to learn about this player quickly? All the general information: height, weight, age, college, draft pick, experience. I put a tag on here if I think he's already a Hall of Famer. This is an individual opinion. Only a handful of guys get this tag. He's one of them. He signed a 4-year, $120 million contract where he'll become an unrestricted free agent in 2027. He's basically going in the top 3 across all platforms. So that's where you got to draft him if you want him. Week 17 opponent for those playing best ball. And I will be looking at this in this particular format because we do need to win 15, 16, and 17. Now, I don't know 15 and 16 weeks as well as I know 17 from all the best ball drafts that I've done, but that's something that would be of help. But I do know week 17, and that is the championship week. You've got your 3 algorithms. You've got your overall fantasy fitness score, which combines his talent in a vacuum with his team environment, marries those two together to come up with an overall fantasy fitness score. He ranks number 1, Justin Jefferson number 2, Jamar Chase number 3, CeeDee Lamb 4, etc. The talent score is intended to find out how talented this player is in a vacuum. It tries to tease out, you know, well, the quarterback sucks. Okay, but he still gets targets per route run, you know, 3 out of every 10 routes he runs, he gets a target. That's a 30% targets per route run. That is exceptional. You know, so even if those targets are bad, and that would be a reflection of the quarterback, he's still earning those targets. So that gets included in the talent score. Yards per route run, there's a little bit more of a component of having to catch the ball and get the yards. So, you know, that could be affected by the quarterback, but still yards per route run is a very sticky metric. So yards per route run, targets per route run, route participation. How many routes does he participate in that are available in the offense? If they run 40 passing plays in a game, does he run 40 routes in a game? If he does, he has a higher chance of scoring points, and the coach believes in him, so he's putting him on the field. So that's obviously a reflection to some extent of your talent. The other things that we look at are the ADOT, so average depth of target. Some of these guys will run, you know, 12, 13, you know, their average depth of target is 12, 13. That's a very indicative of being able to get downfield quickly and get open. And so that's a reflection of your talent. So average depth of target is important. You get guys like Malachi Corley. You know, as much as I love his yak game, and he's a rookie for the Jets, he's struggling a little bit, but he has a 6.6% average depth of target. So how are you going to, you know, rely on somebody who's, you know, he's getting downfield as far as tight ends and running backs? Like, that's not indicative of a very good wide receiver. So he will be punished in the talent score if his ADOT is too low. And then you have the team environment. So the team environment is a reflection of the team scorecard, and the team scorecard is Oh, and by the way, the talent score also does take into account athleticism. So it looks at both athleticism and on-field production. And the collective of athleticism and on-field production is how we derive the talent score, which is to say that regardless of whether he's on the Dolphins or he got, relegated to the, I don't know, what's the Denver Broncos or something like that, he's still an exceptionally talented wide receiver. It's supposed to tease out those peripherals like quarterback quality and things of that nature. His athleticism is sublime. 4.34 40, 8.5 still, even when you adjust for his size. Short area quickness, 9.5. Lateral quickness. That's why nobody can touch this guy at the line, because he just lateral quickness, zooms right by you, can't touch me, wide open, throw me the ball to he gets an enormous number of opportunities. He scores out a perfect 10. His competition is good, but because he's better than all these guys, he doesn't get dinged too hard on competition. Jalen Waddle, Malik Washington, the flashy rookie, Jonnu Smith, Devon Achane, Raheem Mostert, Jalen Warren, they're all competing for targets. O-line is good, but not great. Quarterback is decent. Tua Tagovailoa. Coaching is, in Mike McDaniel, we trust. That's all I'm going to say. One of my favorite coaches in the league. Tail of the tape, and learn all about what makes Tyreek Hill, his routes, film breakdown. Please follow these content creators because they did the work to put these videos together. We're just curating it so that you can, microwave your learning. And then here's kind of a breakdown of your positional competition. Jalen Waddle, Malik Washington, and then my boy, Mike McDaniel. Go ahead and read up about him. Dubbed McDaniel the Machine. Okay. And you don't just get that nickname unless you're freaking awesome. And then a little bit about how fantasy fitness meets physical fitness. You can learn about their training regimen. We've curated a couple videos on their off-season training just so you can kind of see the work that they put in. So this is a typical profile that you're going to see on fantasyfitness.io. We also have the compare tool. So if you just, you're popping out there waiver wire week and it's like, shoot, who do I get? There's two guys out here. This isn't a good example because he's not going to be on the waiver wire. So let's go use maybe like a good example. Maybe somebody like Joshua Downs could find himself on the waiver wire with his high ankle sprain. Maybe he's not getting drafted in your home leagues until his ankle gets better, but he's out there in a couple of weeks. And then, maybe it's somebody like Jalen Polk, if you're not playing on FFPC or these more competitive leagues where you're doing 20 round drafts. Who do I want? It's waiver wire week. Let's take a look. Colts versus Patriots offense, 5'10", 175, 6'2", 190. This guy's clearly got the size. This guy's 23, 22, both, second round draft pick versus third round. 1 year of experience versus no years of experience, 4.48, 4.52, so similar 40 times. Their talent scores are coming out fairly similar, probably for those reasons. And then their team environment, they're both maybe not on the best teams. So overall, it's close, 56 versus 52, but this can help sort of, help you make that decision. Let's look at their athleticism. Joshua Downs clearly has some explosiveness and some agility. Polk, he's a decent athlete in short area, but outside of that, he's not necessarily great. And then, both their team environments are not, say, ideal for the passing attack or just in general quarterback quality, things of that nature. But you can kind of see how you can help discern, who might be useful for your team by using the compare tool. And then I've been using this tool over here called Enable Draft Tracker with Roster Builder, where I go ahead and I set up a draft. I name it, Best Ball Mania 5, Underdog platform. Format is Best Ball Redraft Dynasty, whatever you're playing in. And then your scoring, you go ahead and you set that up. And now you're in the draft room. And while you're drafting on one screen, you can be knocking guys off on the other screen. Here, drafted by the field. Okay, it's my turn. Drafted by me. So I use this sometimes. I don't use it all the time. I've done like 60 drafts, 70 drafts at this point. So it's not like a must-have, but it's something that I like to incorporate into my tool set, depending on the type of draft that I'm doing. I like it in slow drafts because I'm not rushed to, do it on a 60-second timer and stay up the whole time. But we can go ahead and look at my rosters. So a bunch of best ball mania stuff, and then you can see down here, my fantasy pros, the 5 that I've done, and then the 6th one that I'm about to do tonight with you guys here in 12 minutes. So looking forward to it. Let's go ahead and clear out some of this noise here, and we'll leave that open. We got 2 of these open, so I just need 1. And then what I'm probably going to do is give myself some space so I can work with this and this at the same time. Yeah, that'll be good. Then I can kind of flip flop back. But let's take a look at a couple of these teams that we drafted. So my first one, FPC Ballers 1. So this, I give some metrics on here too for those that use the app. So the overall fantasy fitness score graded out at a 8.01. I found from my best ball drafts and my FPC drafts, that's 8 is kind of like right. It's a little bit of a breaking point. The talent score comes in at 8.06, and the team score comes in at 7.93. So this is a very solid team. I drafted Patrick Mahomes. I'm missing a player. Let me go see what happened there. Let me just. Oh, yeah, it was Justin Herbert that I drafted. So let me add Herbert here, and we'll get the final deal on this. Because you get 18 players and then a kicker defense, which I don't add kickers and defense here. So this was how it finally graded out. 802, 809, and then 792. So my quarterbacks were Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert. This is in the tournament that we're going to be drafting in 10 minutes. So, I'm going to have 6 entries into this tournament. This particular one, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and then my running backs were Christian McCaffrey, Devon Achane, Brian Robinson Jr. is my RB3, and then I got Antonio Gibson, Will Shipley, Carson Steele, just for depth. And then my wide receiving core is Rashee Rice stacked with Patrick Mahomes, and I also was able to nab Xavier Worthy in that draft. So I got Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Patrick Mahomes stack. I got Jalen Waddle with Devon Achane, and then I got D-Hop as my, I guess, wide receiver 3. I say Xavier's my wide receiver 4. And then my depth pieces were Wendell Robinson in a depleted New York Giants offense with basically Malik Neighbors. So they got to throw the ball to somebody. And he has shown an ability to get open, albeit on shorter A-dot routes. Jalen Polk, who's running with the starters in New England. And then I'm just taking a stab on Dontavian Wicks. And then for my tight ends, I went Brock Bowers, absolute stud. For those that don't know this guy, I mean, the guy is just an absolute legend. And then Dalton Schultz is just sort of like a stabilizing floor piece, and then kind of a, high upside, high risk, high reward sort of Greg Dulcich play here, just kind of at the end of the draft. So this guy graded out with those core pieces being Patrick Mahomes, McCaffrey, Achane, even Brian Robinson to some extent, and then Rice, Waddle, Hopkins, Xavier. Those are kind of the core pieces of the team. I've got a pretty good score. I've got 5 rookies, which I feel like is solid, 24.5 years average player age. So on the, not old, but not young, 2.8 years of average NFL experience. So that's good. My buys are manageable. I buy weeks 5, 6 on week 6, which is my Dolphins, and my Kansas City stack. And then you've got 1 on week 9, 2 on 10, 1 on week 11, and then a little bit on 14 there. And that's my New England and Broncos pieces. So all in all, very manageable, and really tried to target good offenses. So Kansas City, got a couple there, Miami there, San Francisco, Chargers, it's Herbert. So you got to feel pretty good about that. And then Eagles got a piece, Houston got a piece, Packers got a piece, and then just kind of sprinkled some stuff in here on these, these offenses that we're just not really sure about. So I feel like I did a good job attacking high quality offenses, building stacks, managing buys. We'll have to see. It's a tournament. In this particular one, I drafted from the 3 hole, and I was able to get McCaffrey at the 103. Somebody took Hill and Lamb ahead of me. So there we have it. That just kind of give you a little bit of a rundown of the app, the rosters, and now we're going to get into the draft. I'm going to just sort of use this as an ancillary tool while I am on the clock. I am drafting from the 112. I'm going to go ahead and grab a drink of water and get ready for this draft. I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Appreciate it. Please stick around. I want you guys here, so please stick around for this draft. I think it'll be fun. All right, and I am back. Appreciate you guys being here. We are about to kick off the FFPC Fantasy Pros Championship. This is a $350 draft, and it is we're playing against 20,000 other entries. Everybody's put into 12-team leagues, and you have to have the highest scoring points. You have to have the best record, or you have to win you have to be one of the top 4 teams, and you have to win the league championship weeks 13 and 14. So 1 through 12 kind of gets all the seeding set up, and then 13 and 14, 1 plays 4, 2 plays 3. The winners play each other week 14. And then if you are the highest scoring team in your league, the best record, or you win that league championship, you go to the Tournament of Champions week 15, 16, and 17, cumulative scoring. And by that point, it's gotten whittled down to, I don't know what the numbers, let's just say 5,000, less than 5,000 of the 20,000 is going to be in that final draft. Final Tournament of Champions to win the $1 million. So you need unique builds for one. You want to have a unique build, and you're aiming for massive upside in these tournaments. They're very top heavy. It's a very boom or bust format. So you're not drafting like a home league. You're not drafting safe per se. You're going for massive upside. I'm going to be even taking more risk in this particular one because I'm drafting from the 112, and it's been a tough spot to draft all year in best ball and other formats. So I'm just of the opinion that screw it. I'm taking risk. I'm going for younger players, high upside players. You can kind of see right here from the jump, the 3 of my targets here at the back of the draft. I'd be pulling Achane way up, but that he's the type of player you want to look for in these tournaments where, you know, he can score 40 or 50 points in a game like he did against the Denver Broncos last year. I know that was an outlier game to some extent, but he has that type of ceiling, as does Gibbs. I'm not necessarily interested in like a Barkley or a Taylor type in this particular format, although I do like them both, just not. I'm thinking more upside, especially from where I'm drafting from. So also, if you guys have questions about your own fantasy teams, or just questions about, you know, these leagues that I'm playing in, hit me up in the chat. Please also subscribe if you're not already doing that, so you can get notifications on when I'm going live. I'm going to be going live probably from now until the season starts on Thursday for various different leagues. So yeah, also, you know, feel free to visit fantasyfitness.io. You can also follow me on Twitter at fantasyfit.io. And I also just got an Instagram page set up, but I haven't done a lot over there. So in any event, appreciate you guys being here. This is going to be a fun draft. You know, tell me what you're thinking in the draft, in the chat, excuse me. Happy to hear your feedback. I take criticism pretty well. And yeah, you know, it is what it is. So 19 seconds. Let's get it going. It's exciting. Appreciate you guys being here. And yeah, hopefully we can win this tournament, and you guys will be witness to it right here. We're going to make it happen. And we're off. No surprises here. Christian goes first, followed up by, my guess is CeeDee Lamb, but we'll see. CeeDee Lamb. Let me get the draft board going as well. We'll watch these puppies happen. This is a more fun view for the viewers. All right, so Christian goes first, CeeDee Lamb second, Tyreek Hill third, Breece Hall fourth. No surprises so far. Bijan Robinson fifth. We'll see what kind of concern, if any, is floating around with Jamar Chase. He's been falling in drafts with the news about his contract, not practicing, that type of stuff. So anyway, St. Brown goes sixth. Everything's just sort of on track at this point. There he goes seventh. So no real concerns about Chase in this room. I did just get him at 10 on a best ball marathon draft that I did right before this, just to kind of warm up. And he fell to 10, and I snagged him there. Garrett Wilson at 9. I guess that's a little surprising to see him go above Jefferson and Brown. I doubt those guys fall to me. They don't. Jefferson goes at the 109. Brown will probably go right after him. And we'll see what shenanigans, if any, happens here. "30 seconds. "17. They're thinking. What are they thinking? That's the question. Or are they not thinking? Maybe they're not thinking. Jonathan Taylor. Perfect. Okay, so I've been wanting to do this, and I'm going to do it now. I'm going to go a little out of the box. I'm going to go Jahmyr Gibbs. And everybody's got a Jahmyr Gibbs, Puka Nacua stack. And I love Puka Nacua. I really do. And I have him all over the place. But he is coming back from injury. So I'm going to go Jahmyr Gibbs. And I think this will provide a certain level of uniqueness that you're not going to find on a lot of other teams. I also think this guy's ceiling is through the roof, as do I think Puka's is, but we're also dealing with a slightly healthier Cooper Kupp this year. So I just think we have to temper our expectations a little bit with Puka, and he is injured. Re-injury is a thing once you've been injured. So Devon Achane here at the 1-2 turn, and I'm just doing something bold and trying something different. And it's my 6th. It's my final one. Why not go for the moon guys, right? And I'm doing a 2 tight end build, or 2 running back build right here. So robust RB. And now I'm absolutely going to hammer wide receivers, try to slip in a tight end and a quarterback at some point here. But really, this is a robust RB build. I'm not coming back to running back for a while, probably 8, maybe 9. We'll just have to kind of see how it plays out. But somewhere around 8 or 9, I'll come back to the running backs. That means 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's just say 6 more rounds where we're going to be basically doing your wide receivers, because there's a ton of wide receiver value in these middle rounds, or early middle rounds, I should say. And then you get a lot of running back value kind of around 9, 10, 11 in there. So that's where I'm going to get those high upside guys like a Trey Benson, like a Blake Corum, like a Jalen Wright. I even like a Dobbins in there, because I want to attach myself to a John Harbaugh running backfield. That's what that guy loves to do. And so I do think about coaches marginally, but I'm not like a homer when it comes to, the coach. But I do like to understand their style of play. Greg Roman, he's run heavy, balanced, but semi-balanced, but he's a run heavy. So you get a Dobbins, you get a Vidal. I'm not crazy about Gus Edwards, but I will, go after like Vidals and possibly a Dobbins if we can get him late enough. Otherwise, targets in this range, I don't know who's going to be here, but guys like Brandon Ayuk, if he's there at this 3-4 turn, would be an obvious pick for me. The DJ Moores, if they fall, would be nice in that range. Trying to think of who else will be there in that spot, but those are some of the first names that come to mind. I had 2 of those open. That's why we were seeing that name coming off twice. So that should be resolved. So here we go. Let's do a quick recap. So after I went Gibbs, Achane, which is just shooting for the moon and looking for build uniqueness against the 20,000 entry field, you get Barkley, Taylor stack, Puka Brown stack, Harrison, and Jefferson. So Jefferson at 9 is definitely nice. Harrison, I don't know, whatever. We'll have to see how that works out. So Harrison, Jefferson, you get McBride, Laporta, London, Chris Olave, Travis Kelce goes in the second. Mark Andrews goes off in the second. So, I've seen him go at the 3-8, the 3-9, even, 3-6. So, where he might fall here, he didn't. But that could mean this room isn't feeling like a Dalton Kincaid, or maybe these guys get tight ends early and then I have a chance at, a Brock Bowers or something in the 7-12 would be hard. I've seen him go as late as 7-11. I haven't seen him go 7-12. So we'll just have to see. Cooper Cup goes at the end of the second, Collins at the start of the third. I guess the big surprise might just be a little early for these guys. Kincaid at the 3-2. That makes sense. Rashee Rice super early. Holy smokes. That is early for Rashee Rice. Like, okay. I got him at the 410 in that draft I just showed you guys right before this. I had drafted him at the 410. So that's interesting. Josh Jacobs here at the 3-4. That's fine. Value, nothing sexy there. He looks to be attacking robust RB, get his tight end out of the way, and he's probably going to be attacking wide receivers here in the middle rounds as well. And then we have Malik Neighbors at the 3.5. And we are, what are we here? We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 picks away. Let's see what happens. Jalen Waddle goes at the 3-6. And sorry if you can hear the sirens in the background. This is going to be interesting. Let's look at the board and see who's still there. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Yes, so Brandon Ayuk, if he can fall, would be a target. DJ Moore would be a target. If I could get both of those guys here, I would love that. Not necessarily trying to get Pittman, although I think he provides a nice floor in this range. I don't necessarily see the ceiling. Metcalf, although he's not my favorite. Okay, I've got it. I guess I do need both of those open. All right. Hopefully you're enjoying this so far. Like I said, if you have any questions, comments, criticisms, you have questions about your own team, trade offers, that's what I'm here for. Appreciate you guys stopping by. And we are 3 picks away. We have Evan Ingram off the board. 2 picks away. What are they going to leave us? He's going robust RB, so this is going to create a little bit of a challenge because he's obviously going to most likely be targeting wide receiver as well. But I will get the back-to-backs. He'll have to, pray somebody comes back to him. We'll just have to see what he does here. Get these 2 picks out of the way, and then I've got to jump off for just a sec to check on the kiddo in between these picks. But I will do a recap in just a minute as soon as he makes up his mind. He's thinking very hard here, clearly. What am I going to do? The Ayuk pick would be the obvious win for me with the Jahmyr Gibbs. So week 17, I'd have Gibbs, Ayuk in a championship week, and I think that would just be amazing if I could pull that off, but I'm not sure what this guy's thinking. And he went with Ayuk, which I... So I will definitely get into DJ Moore here because I like what he provides. And I could do a double stack with Rome Odunze later. So I will go DJ Moore here. And then the model that I have likes Adams. If I go Adams, then I could also possibly go Bowers later. And there's a possibility for Kittle as well. Adams this late into the 4th feels like you're either getting value trapped or he's going to pay off. So I'm going to go Devontae Adams, DJ Moore here. I wanted Ayuk. I didn't get him. I think he thought what I was thinking. And he snagged him there. So good for him. Wow. Okay. Interesting. So getting DJ Moore at the end of the 3rd, definitely like that on a high-powered offense with what we hope to be a really good wide quarterback. And then Devontae Adams definitely feels like value here at the 4-1. I think I would have taken any of these three, but my preference would have been DJ Moore, Brandon Ayuk. I had to settle, if you want to call it that, for DJ Moore, Devontae Adams. The target should be there for Adams. He's always been a baller. If we look at the model real quick, and we just look at wide receiver, Adams is significantly ahead of Ayuk. I think Ayuk is an up-and-comer. But if we look at the model here for Devontae Adams, 6'1", 215, 31, that's the big concern, right? Could he get injured this year? But from a talent perspective, it's undeniable. He is right up there with Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, Malik Neighbors, and then you have Devontae Adams right there, 781. His team environment isn't ideal. He 8-3-5. I mean, it's not horrible, and he could get peppered with targets. But quarterback, right? That's the one thing, Gardner Minshew. But last year, he got fed by Aiden O'Connell, and I have no reason to believe he won't get fed by Gardner Minshew. So I still like the pick. This might be his last year. Hopefully this is his last great year. Or hopefully it's not, but hopefully I get the, pieces of it. And I went young, but not too young with Moore. And then obviously Adams is a bit older. So want to just monitor that a little bit. But this is a unique build. I don't know, if we look at FFPC, even in FFPC, Devontae Adams goes late second, and this is a day or two old where I'm pulling this information down. So 24, and I snagged him at the 3-4 turn. So you're talking about, a guy that should be going over here is now all the way over here. I mean, I'm somewhat shocked that I have Adams in the 4th round. Like that, is it just me, or, give me a thumbs up or something in the chat if you think that's sort of crazy that I just got Devontae Adams in the 4th round. As much as I love Brandon Ayuk, like Devontae Adams in the 4th round, it's ridiculous. So yeah, hell yeah, let's go. Let's see how this thing comes back. Wow, this guy's clearly trying to he's going to build a stack here. He's going to get Patrick Mahomes. He did what I did from the 3, except he decided to build it from the 3-4, and I got Rice in the 4th and Worthy in the 6th, 6-7. So this guy's paying up for something I did, and you were bear witness to it. I didn't get Mark Andrews, and instead of Tyreek Hill, I got Christian McCaffrey. But I mean, that probably speaks to even more value. So anything's possible for sure. Anything's possible. But that's interesting that he is paying that much for those guys. Like, he is squeezing out the upside, and I get what he's doing, but I just told you I did that same thing, and I got everybody around later and was able to squeeze in Devon A-Chain with Christian McCaffrey. And there was one other piece in that too. Oh yeah, Jalen Waddle. So I guess it's possible he wins, but I've got the better build with more upside at the top there. So anyways, it's good to have conviction and, say this is what I'm going to do, but damn, you're paying a lot. I moved A-Chain up from where he's been going mid-second, end of second to the early second. I didn't overpay for Gibbs. This is where he's been going. This was almost, I wouldn't say value, but this is about right for more. And then, like I said, I either got value trapped with Adams, or that was like a steal of the month or something. Anyhow, here we go down the stretch. Just to recap, round 5, Jake Ferguson goes at the 5-1, Rashad White at the 5-2, Patrick Mahomes at the 5-3, Higgins at the 5-4, Hurts 5-6, and Pittman at the 5-7. We're 4 picks away. Let's go ahead and start to line some stuff up here. Because I've got my boy Adams, if Kamara falls here, I would take him, although it's not my first choice, but I would take him here because I think there's decent value there. Otherwise, I'm looking at Cooper. I'm looking at Ridley. I'm looking at Godwin. I'm considering Bowers there. I'm also considering 2 picks. Because these guys are so, if this guy takes Kamara, that would make sense. He doesn't, he takes Bowers. So if he wants to take Kamara, he's more than welcome to, but goddamn, like, what are you doing? So that looks like I might, I don't actually want Kamara, even though I said he's good value there. I think I'm just going to stick with my build. So Ridley here makes a lot of sense, as does Godwin. I think Ridley and Godwin would be my targets. Cooper as well, because I have Devon Achane. And Cooper put up 50 points in like the week 17 of the playoffs, like last year against Houston. It was ridiculous. He just like smashed people. So Cooper has it in him to get those big games. George Pickens, that doesn't hurt me. And I'm going to go ahead and go with Cooper. I think here that makes a lot of sense. And then I like Ridley and I like Godwin both. And they're both a little older, so that's about my only sort of, I guess, complaint. Is they're a little bit older. Because yeah, I'm going to go Ridley. I think that's the play. Real quick. Use the app. Let's see. Godwin's ranked higher. So, but I could get into that other stack with, yeah, I'm going to go Ridley. I think he makes a really good wide receiver 4. All right, so let's do a quick recap. That also gives me a chance to get into Hopkins later, who's going a little bit later. And I also have options now with Brian Thomas, if he's somehow were to make it back to me. Very unlikely, but you never know. Roma Dunze is also in play here as well, and Brian Thomas to get the other side of that stack. So here we go. Just to recap, actually, give me just a second, folks. Appreciate you being here. I just got to check on the kiddo, and this is the perfect time to do it since I'm 21 picks away, and I will be right back. Appreciate you. Alrighty, I am back. Had to check on the kiddo. Appreciate you guys sticking around. So just to recap, I took Cooper. I'm going robust here, so I'm building out a wide receiver stack, and I want to give myself optionality in terms of some stacking. Cooper with Achane is super nice. Week 17, you expect probably Dolphins to be up in that game. A run back with Cooper and Joku would have been nice, but this room is going super heavy tight end, which is fine. That should leave some others to drop. But Hopkins could fall because of all these running backs. You got the Cooper stack with HN, like I mentioned, Adams standalone. And now I could look at some other plays here. I've got 4 wide receivers that all have volume attached to them. They should have, some significant volume. Each of them can command 100 plus targets. So that's good. The volume's there. Wish I was slightly younger at the wide receiver position, although that's considered, age savviness that can help. Guys play into their 30s at that position. You definitely want to be young at the running back position. And we will go and get our, sort of our pseudo, you can almost call it like 0 RB. And it's not 0 RB, but because I'm going to go and get the type of running backs you would get in a 0 RB for high upside later on, it fits well for tournament style. This gives us a Trevor Lawrence stack. This gives us a Caleb Williams stack. This gives us a Jahmyr Gibbs even to like a golf stack, although I don't really like that. Let's see what's going on here at the wide receiver position. Keenan has been falling like a rock. Watson, Thomas. Thomas would be great here because of his high ceiling. If he could make it back, I'm not counting on it because he's been going off the board early. And this room they're definitely snipers. But I will, if I have to, I'm not just going to draft wide receivers to draft wide receivers. Like that doesn't make sense. So I will come back to a running back here if I have to, or I would get a tight end if a tight end made sense in this area. But I don't see any tight ends right in this area. The next one is Freiermuth. This is definitely one where I might need to consider. Yep, Brian Thomas goes. So it's a sharp room for sure. For sure. Two picks away. Not a Chase Brown fan, although he could make sense with this build. I think Watson here in the 9th makes some sense if he falls to me. I think he could be good. And then I do like Jalen Warren. And Ladd McConkey could also be that sort of that young piece I need. And I could get that potentially get that Herbert piece. So if I could get both of these guys right here, that would be pretty sick. We'll see what he's looking at on his board. Yeah, he's just kind of doing, I don't know, some kind of goofy stuff. So the one thing he tried to do here is stack Pickens with Ayuk week 17. I don't know if that was intentional or not. Tyler Conklin. Okay. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you very much. Wow. Okay. Now Kyler could make sense right here too. But yeah, Kyler. But I have other stacking options with Trevor Lawrence and Caleb Williams later that are probably as appealing. And I could also get a Tua. So I'm not going to get conned into that. Here, the upside of Watson, although I'm a skeptic, is awesome. So I'm going to go Watson. And tell these guys to suck it and go get Lad frickin' McConkey. And now there's no tight ends of consequence in this area. Okay. Yeah, Kyler Murray unstacked. I'm not letting McBride guy get his guy. No freaking way. No way. Suck it. That also gives me a Michael Wilson stack later. And now I've got 5 guys that can make it happen. Tournament. Told you I was going to wait till about 9 to come back and get my next set of running backs. And I'm going to do just that. Even though I didn't draft Lad, I still like McConkey here. Sorry. Even though I didn't draft Lad, I still like Herbert here. Kyler has all the upside. Got him super late. Was able to squeeze out like a Christian Watson for that late season tournament style upside. You get targets with Ridley, targets with Cooper, targets with Adams, targets with Moore. You've got some young, some old, definitely some veterans in there. Not what I would have preferred. I would have loved a McLaurin or a Tank Dell, but it just didn't work out this time. Appreciate you guys being here. Think we are in really good shape. All things considered here. Going robust RB, Gibbs A-Chain. Then went DJ Moore. Somehow got Devontae Adams at the 4. I mean, just insane. I've never seen this. And I love Devontae Adams. This might just be my luck. I hope it is. I hope this is my luck because that's amazing to get Devontae Adams at the 4-1. As much as I love Brandon Ayuk, like I'm going to take Devontae Adams at the 4-1 if they give it to me. I have pretty much gotten 5 wide receivers. So at this point, I can shift back into running back mode and start looking for running backs. I can also look for, there's a Caleb Williams possibility here. Although Not necessary. Not necessary at all. All right, let's get back over here. You have a Brian Robinson. You have a Blake Corum. You have a Tajay Spears, potentially, unless those guys go 3 back to back to back. And if they do, so be it. Then you still have a Trey Benson. You have a hurt Hollywood Brown. You have a Hawkinson. So I think Hawkinson here, because I have a play at the end. Very interesting. Jonathan Brooks, not somebody I'm targeting. Tajay was a guy that I was looking at, definitely. That I don't necessarily understand. Really thinking this one over, buddy. Aren't you? Can appreciate you guys being here. If you like the content, like and subscribe. 8 seconds. Blake Corum, okay. I like Jalen Wright and J.K. Dobbins and Kamani Prado. I think Brian Robinson here makes a lot of sense with one of those picks. And there is a Jaden Daniels here, but the upside of the Hawkinson pick, because I can just piece something together, and he's got massive upside. So Schultze is interesting. Well, we'll see what happens there. TJ Hawkinson. Brian Robinson Jr. at the 912 seems to make a lot of sense. I don't have a stack at this point with that, but that being said, he's still going to be a beast. You get 3 pieces in case those top 2 guys get hurt. You get Hawkinson here, and now there's, I don't know, some different ideas on what to do here. Hollywood Brown, I'm just not too sure about, and I've got those other pieces. So I just don't really like screwing around with the wide receivers in this range. They're all just kind of like, could work out, might work out, probably won't work out. Whereas Kyler Murray's a sure thing if he stays healthy. Brian Robinson is as sure as they come. So that was surprising that they took Corum. Spears makes sense. The Corum pick before Robinson does not make sense to me. Nor would a Trey Benson pick make sense there. As much as I like Trey Benson, I wasn't going to pick him over Brian Robinson because we just don't know what his role is going to be. And they're talking about Brian Robinson like he's just getting better and better and better. So when are we just going to say, okay, the guy's good? Turns out he's actually pretty decent. Maybe he is a little bit like a Pacheco or somebody like that who's more of a late round running back, but finds himself on an offense that's gotten better. And yeah, I don't know why I would necessarily take another quarterback unless it's a late Justin Herbert. And yeah, I mean, really, Romeo Dobbs, Jameson Williams, there's going to be so many busts in this area. So to think you're going to find the guy, it's going to be Keon Coleman, it's going to be Kil Shakir, it's going to be Joshua Palmer. Like, there's a reason why these guys are going here because there's nowhere else to put them. And so this is where we sort of stuff them in the draft. And a Brian Robinson, and say what you want about TJ Hawkinson. I get it. He's an injured player, but you're discounting the hell out of him, to get him in the 10th round here. And then to be able to follow him up with like a Jonnu, not that I would love that in a managed league here, but let's say Schultz would have been one for me. Obviously, that would have added some stability while we wait for Hawkinson to return. But I'm looking at some of these draft picks. Why are we doing 2 quarter? If you're going all in on Anthony Richardson in the 7th round, or Patrick Mahomes for that matter in the 7th round, why are you drafting Jordan Love when you could have somebody say like Jaylen Warren? You just passed up. You gave up a Jordan Love who's going to sit on your bench because you're never going to bench Patrick Mahomes. You're not going to play matchups. That's just silly. And now you don't have Jaylen Warren, who has massive upside, especially if Najee Harris gets hurt in a 2-headed backfield. Like, that is a colossal mistake on the part of Show Me the End by drafting those 2 quarterbacks that closely to one another. It just makes no sense, especially in a tournament. Like, you need all the upside you can find in these tournaments, and you're going to waste it on a backup in 2 picks after you drafted Jordan, 3 picks after you drafted Patrick Mahomes. I mean, come on. Like, what are we doing here? But that's good for me, and that's good for the other people in the league. So I'm drafting Kyler Murray, and then I'm I may not draft another quarterback and just, when it's his waiver wire week, pick one up off the waiver wire. I may go get like a late guy, like a Justin Herbert, because he's going in the 17th round and it's Justin freaking Herbert. So that would make a lot of sense. But like the difference is I'm going to get a guy in the 8th round and then the 17th round, versus going and getting Patrick Mahomes at the 5-3 and then turning around 3 picks later and getting Jordan Love. Like, okay, that just, and you pass up a Jalen Warren, a Devin Singletary, even guys that I don't like Zach Moss, Jonathan Brooks, who has late season upside, Tajay Spears, Blake Corum. I mean, it's just crazy. Brian Robinson, the guy that I got, holy crap. Like I had 2 guys fall to me so far in this draft. Brian Robinson, who should not have been there. He should have been going above a lot of these other guys, Devin Singletary. This Brian Robinson has pass catching upside, and he's on an offense that's gone up, a coaching staff that's gotten better. It's just, that's crazy to me that Brian Robinson, you took Rico Dowdle, who's been in the league for 4 years and hasn't done jack squat, and you put him in front of Brian Robinson Jr. Blake Corum, I love him. Tajay Spears, I love him. But these guys are in, more 50-50 backfields. Robinson is going to take the lead. Eckler is going to take most of the passing stuff. But Brian Robinson has a very clearly defined role. And if something happens to my fragile, this is a fragile build in that I went with Gibbs and Achane, I've got Robinson to plug in there. So, I mean, this is crazy. But here we are. We're coming up on it. Targets. Pat Freiermuth, if he makes it. J.K. Dobbins makes a ton of sense right here. One of the few last pieces. And then there's a Cole Kmet I can get in on. There's a Jalen Polk who we can get it on right here. There's a Jordan Mason who's a good pick now. Freiermuth gone. 3 picks away. Appreciate you guys being here. If you like what you're hearing, please subscribe. We are in the midst of a Fantasy Pros Championship tournament. Dontavian Wicks goes. That's a good pick by Myers. 2 more picks. Probably like to come out of here with, a high upside guy like Luke Musgrave to pair with my high upside guy in. That would fit my build very nicely if I could get a Perfect. Absolutely perfect. So we're going to get a Luke Musgrave here. High upside, has all the intangibles, everything you want, and in a very ambiguous passing. We don't really know who it's going to be. He could easily emerge in this offense. So he makes a lot of sense here. I think we have to go Luke Musgrave. And now the question becomes, who do we take next? And it's really comes down to the fact that I think I want Dobbins here. I think Dobbins provides a lot of stability. Again, just fits the build very nicely. I want pieces of that Los Angeles Chargers run defense. Why wouldn't I? Give me Kamani Vidal later too, and then I'm done. You know, it's like so beautiful. Hawkinson goes with Musgrave. I've got Watson to go with Musgrave and Hawkinson. Brian Robinson's just a standalone piece at this point. But then I get into Chargers backfield. I like Jalen Polk, but I wasn't going to force it. I've got everything I need now, pretty much from a running back perspective. They gave me the keys to the kingdom. Now we get back into the high flyer, take stabs on your wide receivers in this range. You're back into some rookies and some younger guys. And I think I mostly avoided. You can get your Michael Wilsons back here. So that's obviously going to be my target is Michael Wilson. He's going to help me in this tournament with a stack with Kyler Murray, because that's the only way I'm going to get a stack with Kyler Murray is potentially to get Michael Wilson here. So looking down the list, Michael Wilson would be a target if I can get to him. Rashid Shaheed in a tournament like this, it's going to be hard to know when to start him, but you'd probably start him championship weekend with Devontae Adams. So I could get him for that reason and that reason alone, and not play him a whole lot during the regular season. He would potentially clog a roster. Kamani Vidal would make a lot of sense here too. If I can get Vidal and Wilson on this turn, that could be cool, but I'm not obsessed with it. Outside of that, Ben Sinnott now is in play on this team as a late upside play with that offense that I got a piece of with Brian Robinson Jr. So you've got that going. And then Ridley plays Jacksonville. There is a Gabe Davis stack potentially with Ridley, Gabe Davis, Tennessee, Jacksonville, Cooper, Adams, DJ Moore. Think we both had the right idea, and pretty happy with this team and how it's come together, especially these middle rounds here where I was able to nab Murray, Robinson, Hawkinson, Musgrave, Dobbins. Like that is just chef's kiss, right? Like we're just talking upside. This is a tournament. Yes, it's $350. Yes, I don't like pissing away money, but I mean, what can you say? What can you say? Like we're locked and loaded here. We got Hawkinson with the late season upside. We've got Musgrave, who could probably have, potentially have all season upside. Dobbins to get a piece of that Chargers running back core. I didn't want to go Gus Edwards. The value was in Dobbins. And then Kyler Murray, who always puts up fantasy points. Christian Watson for tournament purposes. Ridley for wide receiver 4 upside throughout the season. Wide receiver 2, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 1. So Absolutely love it so far. This is definitely the type of team that can win a tournament for lots of different reasons. I did not get the Kamani Vidal bring back, which isn't completely surprising, and that's okay. It would have been nice, but it didn't have to happen. I think I have some faith in J.K. Dobbins this year for probably since his rookie year. You know, this is the first time I'm like, wow, we can draft J.K. Dobbins again. Wow, we can draft J.K. Dobbins again. Shaheed. Just went. Again, he's going to be tough to start, though, because especially on the managed part, he is going to be tough. Now, I think a Jermaine Burton would fit this build a little bit, although I don't have any Cincinnati yet. Tua is also available here. I have the A-chain piece. We're getting a lot of quarterbacks going off right in this range. Definitely want Michael Wilson. That's not debatable. If I can get him. Okay. Because I have the Kyler Murray. That's the back stack that I'm really looking for. This guy's been pretty sharp, so I'm nervous. I really hope I get him. He could try to block me, although that would be a little silly. And I don't know that there's all these other guys too, so I don't know that he's looking at Michael Wilson, but he might be. You just never know. Yes, he took Khalil Herbert. So we are definitely going to take Michael Wilson with one of these two picks. The question then becomes, do we go Gibson? Because we have the run back week 17. And unlikely as it is, you never know. Maybe I'm starting Gibson and Dobbins. So we definitely want Michael Wilson. He just makes too much sense with my boy Kyler. People didn't see me setting that up, and now they're going to see it and go, oh, okay. That's what he was doing. Now, do you go Adonai Mitchell? Or do you go AJ? I mean, the model likes Gibson here. The model definitely likes Gibson. And once you get past Gibson in this running back room, I mean, there's definitely I like a Will Shipley, but he's about the last guy that I'm really entrusting. And I like Antonio Gibson here. It also fits my build. Now I'm done with running back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could throw a Shipley on really for depth, but I think you go. There's a Cowing. There's a Burton. I think a Cowing. How many do I have? Cowing. You definitely want to get him on your list. He makes sense with your shares of Gibbs. I don't want to assume anything. You also want Malik Washington, from what I remember, and Wendell Robinson. And potentially the next guy would be Greg Dulcich. If he makes it back. Hunter Henry too. And I would consider the Drake May stack here. So the Drake May. Potentially the Drake May stack with Hunter Henry. And I could go 4-2 and take a peek because I decided to go late tight end here. I might just go take a peek. That's what they call it. Take a peek. You could go Dulcich and Henry, and along with the other two. And because I may only roll one quarterback, his bye week isn't until week 11. So I'm starting him every week. I don't know that I need a quarterback right now. Kind of just thinking of starting him every week. Now, there is still a Tua floating around out there. Oh, Greg Dulcich, show me that end zone too. He nabbed him. So then, because he nabbed him, we get our run on tight ends. So there'll be a few that sneak through here. But Hunter Henry fits my build. Jermaine Burton goes. That would have been the other pick I like. But now we're just getting into guys being goofballs. You know, me getting a third tight end makes sense because I have a injured tight end. These other guys, I don't know. It's a good pick. I'll give him that. It was a good pick. Not really understanding the rest of it. He's got major holes that he's going to need to fill on a consistent basis. And I get the idea. That's how you put it together. You get Mark Andrews. It all looks pretty good, but those two flex positions, you know, we'll see. See if he's going to have enough juice. If I go, it would be a Herbert kind of deal. Joshua Downs is a good pick right there. Douglas. Pop Douglas. Makes sense there. Well, I mean, that's the right round to get him. I don't know that it makes sense on that build, but that's neither here nor there. This is a sneaky good room at all of the running back positions, as is the upside at wide receiver. I mean, he's my wide receiver 5. Wilson's my wide receiver 6. He's Shipley goes, Estime goes. Could take a peek on 15. I mean, Xavier Leggett is a little goofy right there. I don't even know if I like him. No, I would have gone. You call it a slight mess up. I don't think I would have went with Fant, although I might have. Oh, Hunter Henry would have been the pick there. Yeah, that was a big ass mistake. Actually, I would never start him with any level of confidence. So Herbert. All right, thank you guys again for joining. 2 more picks left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Could go one more running back. I think I'm going to go Rasheen Ali with that last running back pick. That's going to be Derrick Henry's backup and could be an immediate kind of guy if anything were to happen. And then the question is what to do at tight end. I think I have the long-term answer solved, but there was that run on tight end in the 14th. Didn't throw me off per se, but it's a little different. You need to get Hawk back. Until that happens, do we look at another tight end? We could take a peek at Tucker Kraft. We could take a peek on the rookie, Jontavian Sanders. How did Sanders grade out in the model? Tight end. Talent score. Eesh. Could be better. Definitely be better. Would have preferred Tucker Kraft could be good here too. Even a Michael Mayer could be a sleeper. I probably will jump on Mayer here. Gonna lead just a little bit longer. Anything happens to so we're gonna go Tucker Kraft. And Justin Herbert. I think so. And Tucker Kraft. And then Justin Herbert. What other running back depth is there? I mean, if something were to happen to him, then it would save my bacon. I want that run back. So I kind of guarantee myself something in that vein. Jacob Cowing is my run back to Jahmyr Gibbs in my San Francisco piece. DJ Moore is DJ Moore. Devontae Adams is Devontae Adams. Cooper is Cooper. I did get the A-Chain Cooper run back. Ridley against your Jacksonville Jaguars. And you got this game. You got Minnesota. Then you got Minnesota. Then you got Watson. You got Minnesota. You have Hawkinson. You have Minnesota. You have Musgrave or Tucker Kraft, right? So somebody's got to merge in that bunch. Right now, I'm going to roll out Luke Musgrave. Potentially Tucker Kraft. Take a peek. So it'll be Gibbs, A-Chain, and then Moore, Adams, Cooper, Ridley, Watson is a bench play. Michael Wilson's a bench play. Jacob Cowing's a bench play. Randall Robinson is a bench play. Five running backs. 8 wide receivers. Overall, from that position, it's hard. It's hard to draft from that position in a room with a bunch of sharps. I mean, they left me some older players. It was interesting. There's definitely some pieces there. That could do it. Overall, B. Love the start. Got DJ Moore falling to me because the Rashee Rice pick up whatever that goofball did. So he pushed DJ Moore to me, which was fine. And Devontae Adams for that matter. Devontae Adams in the 4th is silly. Cooper in the 5th is fair value. Ridley in the 6th is good value, in my opinion. And then you get Christian Watson in the, teetering on the 7-8. That also feels like good value for a guy that was going in the 3rd last year. Then you get Murray, who's healthy and good. Robinson, who's come on and makes a decent 0 RB, a great RB for 0 RB teams to get him in kind of this robust build is nice. And you got the upside of Hawkinson, Musgrave. I'm just going to have to kind of battle through for a little while. But then you also get Dobbins if he stays healthy to go with the other guys. He's electric. And I have a piece of that game or a piece of that backfield. I thought I might get a piece of that game in general, but I ended up going with Dobbins and Herbert stack. But let me just close this out. And then Cowing is my Tank Dell for this year. So put him, especially with what happened with Pearsall. You get just a super slow start. It's almost like a redshirt year for Pearsall, which is much like his whole college career. And Jacob Cowing, all he's done is produce. So you get your Tank Dell late with tons of upside, and then you get a Wendell on a depleted Giants offense who they're going to throw the ball to. Malik Neighbors like crazy, but Wendell's going to have his, it's the best he's felt. So you get a cheap Wendell. You get a possible Tank Dell And then I'm going to let Musgrave and Kraft fight it out for, their usage. And then you just throw me a Herbert, which I get a stack with a Dobbins. And I don't get the run back on anything yet. But by the time the end of the season shapes up, you might be getting like a Baker, a Bourne, something for that week. So there you have it. Jahmyr Gibbs, Devon Achane, DJ Moore, Devontae Adams, Amari Cooper, Calvin Ridley, Christian Watson, Kyler Murray, Brian Robinson, TJ Hawkinson, Luke Musgrave, J.K. Dobbins, Michael Wilson, Antonio Gibson, Wendell Robinson, Jacob Cowing, Tucker Kraft, all right, I'm going to go, let's see. Let's look strictly at defense. I wanted Houston. Houston's gone. I'm going to take that Chargers game. And then for my kicker, I like Myers. I like Jason Myers a lot. Don't really have anything from Seattle, but that's okay. We're just talking kickers here, and bye weeks will become. He's got a late bye. Dicker the kicker. Let's go. Dicker the kicker. Cameron Dicker the kicker. All right, let's build it out real quick and see how we did. I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream here. Appreciate everybody who joined tonight. It was fun having you in here. It was a long stream and it was different, but it was good. And I'm happy you guys all joined, and we'll catch you on the flip side.